Hi, everyone. My name is Angelica Lopez, and I really enjoy learning all about Socrates and the impact he has had throughout all these years. Socrates believed that philosophy should achieve practical results for the greater well being of society. He attempted to establish an ethical system based on human reason rather than theological doctrine. He pointed out that human choice is motivated by the desire for happiness. Ultimate wisdom comes from knowing oneself. The more a person knows, the greater his or her ability to reason and make choices that will bring true happiness. Socrates believed that this translated into politics, with the best form of government being neither a tyranny nor a democracy. Instead, government works best when ruled by individuals who have the greatest ability, knowledge, and virtue, and possess a complete understanding of themselves. So, this right here, I believe, was the real reason why Socrates was tried, convicted, and put to death, because he believed that individuals should know who they are and freely think for themselves. This caused fear in the minds of tyrants at the time, of those that accused him, because if people would think for themselves, they would not be easily manipulated, right? So you'll always have these tyrants throughout time who want to control the mass population, and they can do so if there are strong minds who cannot be controlled. Contrast this to my religious beliefs, right? The life of Socrates really brought tones of what Jesus went through himself. So during the life of Jesus, right, he believed in equality. At the time, there was so much political conflict, and those that were oppressed were the poorest of the poor. And it's mainly because they lacked education and personal convictions, right? They didn't know better. But Jesus came to show them a better way. And he was tried and put to death, allegedly because he was practicing witchcraft and went against religious standards. But in reality, just like Socrates, they were not tried and convicted due to those reasons. They were really tried and convicted because they were men who wanted a better life for the citizens around them. And I really find this interesting because you have a trial that where people are not really looking at the person for true crimes that they committed. They're looking at the accused just merely based on observations brought by those that are not even that much law abiding themselves. For instance, in Socrates' case, Miletus brought the charge against Socrates along with his little henchmen, who were just not great men at the time. I mean, little is known about Miletus, but his employee who rattled up the crowd to go against Socrates, he was a coward and a traitor himself. But yet, here was the jury believing everything they said, despite Socrates having a reputable background of a man who fought for his country, who kept every law intact, who loved his people, who wanted the youth to think for themselves and not just go with the crowd. But at the end, he was still put to death. And it just baffles me. I also love the fact that Socrates was not afraid to die. He stood, so he really believed what he believed, and he was not going to be apologetic about it. He wasn't going to go back on his word. I think for many reasons, one being that he had followers, and if he were to beg for his life and ask for forgiveness for something that he didn't even do, then all of his followers would have seen him as a fraud. And he knew that, and that is why he did not beg for his life. And I also think of him as a really brave man who didn't care to be put to death because he was going to die anyways, right? He was old, and I just loved his level of sarcasm because he pretty much told them, well, joke's on you because I'm going to die soon enough due to old age, but you're going to carry this in your conscience that you put a just man to death for bogus reasons, and you're just going to carry that with you for the rest of your life. And I really like that about him. I love how his followers continued to write about him even after his death, and that just shows that they really admired him and believed everything he said was to be true. Obviously, he was, you know, he was not a man that died for people like Jesus did, but he was a man who died upholding his personal convictions. And to live with such zeal, I think it's great because no one should ever 100% follow government standards, especially when they infringe upon the rights of the people. And just like Martin Luther King Jr., he died. He was assassinated. He wasn't put to trial, but he was assassinated for similar reasons as well, for wanting men and women to fight for their rights, to uphold personal convictions, and even if that meant being disobedient, um, to do so by always thinking about our fellow men. And I really like that. And just the life of Socrates was really one that inspires me now more than ever because it was just a life lived with bravery and just zeal. Thank you, everyone.